Yeah, so I'm just blocking out this cutscene. This is the character from Horizon Zero Dawn. So basically I found a rig online that was pretty good but wasn't great, so I kind of I took it and then made it into a metahuman basically. So she's basically a metahuman, so she's got a super nice face rig and everything. Yeah, nice character. So yeah, just doing something with her. Oh, that's cool, yeah. Yeah, so if you've got any questions, just ask away, people, and I'll try and talk and animate at the same time. And hopefully the animation won't suck too bad because I'm talking, but I'll try my best. I just thought if I'm animating, I might as well animate live, you know, so somebody might get something out of this. Cool, right. Alright, so with this bit here, I'm still not super sure if it's going to be clear enough. I think with anticipations I generally hold them a bit longer than this. This is just like a frame and then she's throwing. The way I do blocking is like this. If you've watched the YouTube channel, you know this method. It's on ones. So it's a case of blocking it out until it's nice and smooth, you know, as you scrub through, and then you do your timing afterwards. So I'm not too worried about timing, but what I am worried about is not having enough frames. So when I do the timing pass, it's all going to feel super mushy and yeah, not very good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to break this down further here and get more of an anticipation here. So what I'm going to do is just move all this along. Actually, I'm going to move the camera along as well. 1 second. Okay. So setting a key on everything here and here, and then just moving this along. And basically letting Maya help me find this breakdown here. So basically I want this to be held a bit longer. So probably about here. I'm going to favour this side. So I'm going to set a key here and then reshape it. Bring everything back on ones. I'm not sure what's going on with the camera there. There you go. So now we've got basically 2 frames of anticipation there, and that's not looking too bad. I'm just going to reshape this a little bit. I'm just going to keep her rotating back this way instead of starting to come through on the rotation already. So just feed that rotation through this way. Try and get this arm back a little bit more without breaking the rig too much. Okay, so go from here to here, and that way when I space this out, I've got 2 frames that are quite similar here that I can then pull that along, give, you know, nice clear anticipation for this throw here. As the arm comes through, throws the spear, hits the dinosaur. Cool. Not too sure about its trajectory through the air, but that's probably something a bit more like that. Cool, alright, let's give that a scrub and see how it feels. So we've got the roar, got the bite that she manages to dodge out the way of, comes up, anticipates the throw, hits the dinosaur. So what I'm looking for here is any major gaps. You notice here, between here and here, there's like a major change of shape, especially on the dinosaur. So I'm looking out for stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break that down further. He's kind of he's stomping down the floor as well. So if I was to do a timing pass on this now, it would feel horrible. You know, there's no control there from from the animation side. So what I'm going to do... Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, this will be recorded, I believe. I think it only stays on Twitch for 14 days because I've just started, but yeah, you'll be able to watch it later if you want to come back. No worries. Alright, so between here and here I'm going to break this down further. So again, I'm just going to move everything along, see what mine gives us. So this is basically what would happen if I did a time pass on this at this point. You see how mushy all this feels. Feels terrible from the dinosaur, so this is why it's a good idea to reshape. Now, because we've got a stomp down, sorry, I'm going to hide this camera because it's confusing. Because he's going to stomp down, I basically want to favour this side for the sampling, because otherwise if I favour this side, it's not going to work. I still want a nice quick stomp down, so what I'm going to do is favour that side and move everything back. Cool, and then reshape. So I'm going to keep this foot up as long as possible. His body weight can start to drop here. Oh, what's happened to that camera? Alright, so I'm going to keep his weight up here. Alright, so we got this, hold, stomp, and then this actually becomes an overlapping frame here, so everything keeps dropping and he's rotating down, and then you've got the recovery frame. Just going to give that a slight nudge just to keep it all alive, and here as well. You never want any controls dying, especially your main cog control. Keep it moving even if it's just the slightest of nudges. It's kind of a thing in 3D animation that everything needs to be moving a tiny bit or it just feels weird. Cool. Alright, so that's starting to feel pretty good. Not as weighty as I'd want it, but sometimes it's a bit easier to do later on when you've got a few more frames during the timing pass. Cool. I'm not too keen about this foot here because he kind of comes forward, takes a step. Yeah, that feels super weak. Don't like that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up, still try and keep it slightly in camera, and then make 16 an up position. That way we get a bit of a stomp. It's always hard to get the kind of weight into these creatures, but generally if you sort of make them stomp about, then you're on the right path. Yeah, that looks goofy though. Yeah, I think that's the neck that's wrong there. Yeah, I don't really like the way he suddenly loses sight of her. He's kind of looking at her here, which makes sense, but then his head just is off, so I'm going to keep him focused on her, even though he's kind of a bit off balance and he's recovering. Cool. Now what I want to do here is have him get hit and and then kind of stumble away from her. The plan then is for her to continue this momentum forward and basically jump on top of him and grab the spear again and go for the killing blow. That's the plan anyway. I haven't really planned this out, I'm just sort of animating. Okay, so it's got quite a tricky bit where we need to have a off-balance dinosaur. Alright, so that foot hits there. We're basically going to keep him moving in this direction. Okay, so he's going to continue over here. Just going to draw the breakdown. First, it's kind of animating straight ahead this bit. Alright, I want to keep this foot on the floor. It's always really important when you're doing stuff like this to animate to the camera. The camera is just as important as what the characters are doing. And it saves a lot of time as well because you're not having to animate everything, it's just literally what's on the screen that's important. Alright, that's starting to get there. We'll just continue this stumble here. So at this point he's going to probably get this foot on the ground and catch his weight. Okay, so I'm not going to come over... Yeah, I'm going to come over this side and then I'll draw the breakdown afterwards. So I'm kind of going to do the last pose of this sequence here. So he's actually managed to sort of catch himself. Okay, this foot can slide across here a little bit. That's fine. Tail. I'm just being really rough with the tail at the moment, but I'd imagine that's going to be about there. Cool, let's do the camera, make sure it all makes sense. Alright, so I'm going to finish about here, but at this point I want to start introducing her back into the scene. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to track the camera around. I'm hoping this works and isn't too much movement. Okay, see, I want her... I was hoping she wouldn't be so far over to the left. Might have to cheat that a bit in a minute. Bang, hit. Comes around. Might get away with it. Okay, it's not quite what I expected, but that's actually going to work quite nicely because she is now on the left hand and he's over to the right. So what I can do here, I'm not sure where I should be this close though. I'm always thinking, like, is this going to make the audience lose track or feel sick? I'm going to go a little bit wider here. Possibly just keep her in shot. I quite like the zoom in, but I don't think I'm going to get away with it because I need to get her back in the shot almost immediately, and I think it's going to be too much. So I might just try tracking all the way around and then just follow her momentum in So she's basically going to jump up at this point, grab the spear, probably like jump up and just finish, you know, spear through the head to the floor is what I'm thinking. I think that'll flow quite nicely. Cool. I'm just going to edit the aim a bit just to keep her in shot a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Cool. Alright, let's do some work on the dinosaur. Dinosaur's pose, because he's kind of come up and he's screamed because he's got hit. But at this point I want him probably a little bit more like this. Sort of looking a bit kind of injured. Possibly starting to look back around for her. Not too keen on the lack of negative space here as well. You know, so like both of the characters are basically on top of each other. Don't really like this. What I'm going to try is maybe turning him as he lands. Maybe turn him this way. Maybe move him. It's too big, so I might just have to deal with it. What I ideally would want is him to finish kind of like this over to the right hand side, so there's a bit of space in between them, but it's going to be too much for a turn, so I'm hoping as she runs in I can get a bit more clarity on the camera, just so people don't get confused about what's going on. Cool, alright. I'm going to quickly rough her in. So, she's just thrown a spear and she's really put a lot of effort in, so she's like all the way around here. But we need her to basically keep moving forward, recover, probably take this kind of path up onto the dinosaur, jump up, grab the spear, that's the plan. Let's see how we go. So, I'm just going to check her balance throughout this bit. Yeah, I think she needs to come over just slightly more. Okay, so the next pose, I'm going to have her have this foot come through for the contact point. Okay, so her foot's going to be aiming about there. This is going to keep coming through. I want to straighten her up a bit because she looks super off balance at this point. So I might have to reduce that pose anyway, but I want her to start refocusing on him around about here. Okay, this arm here can start coming down. Alright, something like that. Luckily the feet are off screen at this point, so don't have to be super accurate with them. But basically we've got the throw, we've got our passing position, we've got our contact, and we know we're going to have to do a down position here. So I'm thinking, I wonder if she needs to take another step or not, or whether I can just get her to jump. Well, we'll see. We'll see how we get on with this pose. So we've got a contact, we need our down position. So this foot here is going to land. Alright, just going to come down. Alright, let's straighten her up even more, so we're going to bring this around, bring this around. Okay, so that's quite a cool pose in camera, that's good. So the problem I've got here is I need her to jump over this way, but her right foot is forward and therefore she can't jump. So I do need to do another step. I need her to be pushing off this foot here, which is fine. We'll just do a bit of a run. Cool, alright, so that's down. And during this time I can also straighten her up a little bit. We'll do our passing position next. Continue the hips around, get her to start focusing right on the dinosaur. Actually no, she's probably going to look up at the spear, so I'm going to have this come around. Starting to get her focus on that spear as she moves forward. Try and keep her moving forward as quick as possible, because I don't want to be animating a run cycle here. I just want a couple of steps just to get into the next bit. Okay, that's starting to work. So we've got the throw, bang, hits. Momentum continues, her body starts to recover. We're going to take another step, we're going to get this foot about here and have her push up, use all that momentum she's already got for the forward motion and get up to that spear. Yeah, alright, cool. Alright, next is up position, so I'm going to move her forward. This is the highest point of the run cycle, so that's going to be about there. This foot is going to be pushing off. Her body is almost in the right position. So I'm just going to move that a little bit. Move that a little bit. Make sure she's focused on that spear. Not too worried about the arms at the moment, that's fine. I'll just move this one out just to create a little bit of negative space just there. Alright. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this anticipation pose before I do anything else, so because it's quite an important one to get right. So I know I want this foot far over to the right. Okay, I know I want her body weight over like this. This foot here can be in its passing position. And I want something nice and dynamic. So this here, move the camera because I'm going to need to get this foot in here because it's really important that it's clear where she's kicking off from. Otherwise it won't make sense. She'll just kind of suddenly float up into the air and it won't make any sense at all. So I'm not too worried about the forward momentum because she's just on a run. What I'm worried about is getting the motion to go over to the right. So to do that we need to anticipate it over to the left. Like this. So she's building up energy in this direction and she's going to jump up this this way. So what I might do is just push that foot out just a bit more and try and dig that foot right into the ground. Okay, and what we'll do as well is start getting the arms into the position of a jump as well. Let the arms kind of help. So get this back as well. Okay, so you see a massive change of shape here. This is kind of why I drew this extreme first. Alright, I need to get a bit further over this foot as well. She's kind of off balance. I should actually be a little bit further along. Cool. Alright, let's break this down because it needs a breakdown. Massive change of shape between here and here. So let's let Maya help. Okay, we'll just sample, slightly favouring that side, bring everything back, and then have this foot start to find the floor on this frame here. Okay. Yeah, not too keen on this arm now, so I'm just going to modify this to be about here. Cool. Okay, so it's starting to feel pretty good now. Obviously it's still super rough, but you see how quick I'm sort of working here. I'm just getting the bare bones of everything that's needed in. Okay, so this camera, I kind of want it to keep tracking in with her. So it's probably gonna, I'm thinking like, I don't know if this is going to be too close, but I want to give it a go. Might work. Yeah, I mean we got to track in anyway, so we might as well track in as she's jumping. Well, that's quite extreme, but I can change it after. Let's see how we get on. Alright, so now I've changed the camera. I really don't like this pose. That's typical. Let's try and get her a little bit lower. Yeah, I might have to change that in a minute. Let's see how we get on with the jump. So, right, we come here. I'm just going to have a look from this angle just to make sure I'm not... Yeah, see, I'm really sort of messing up the forward momentum here. She's going to be very sticky if I do the timing pass in this state. So yeah, I'm going to move her forward a little bit more. She's going to have lots of forward momentum. And this foot here looks ugly. Let's try that. Right, so we go anticipation for the jump, and there's two things I could do. I could either do the stretch, or I could get her up onto the back and figure out exactly where she's going to be. That's probably the smart thing to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grab everything and then get her where I want her, and then we'll fill in the gaps afterwards, basically. Sometimes, you know, you've been watching me, I work both ways. Sometimes I'll just animate straight ahead, sometimes I'll define the extremes, then work backwards from that. But basically, let's figure out where we want her. So because of the camera, I definitely want to kind of turn her a bit in mid-air. I guess this arm here makes the most sense to grab the spear again. It can't be the other one because it's not in the frame, so we know it needs to be that arm there. It's a bit of a tricky frame, this one, so it's going to take a little while to shape, but it'll be worth it. Like extremes, you want to really key poses, you really want to take your time to shape. I quite like that staging though. I'm tempted to do something with the camera now because I really like that shot. That's a lot clearer than this shot. Okay, we'll deal with that in a minute. And this happens sometimes as well. It's like I'll do a key pose and it just won't make sense with the cameras. I have to redo all the cameras just to make a key pose work. Alright, I need to make sure this makes sense and she's actually balanced. Although she's going to push off with this foot anyway, back towards the head, so it could almost be like a double leap thing. She like leaps, grabs, leaps back up, and then just uses the momentum. But she's doing a lot of leaping. I don't want her to feel like a frog in this animation, so... Yeah, I do like that framing. Alright, I'm going to have a go at the camera now and see what I can do. So, as I track it in, it might be a bit too extreme or it might need a cut. Don't think I would be breaking the 180 though. Wonder if I'll get away with it. Alright, probably won't get away with it. That's a shame, so I need to keep it on the... do need to keep it on this side here. Unless I went high with it. Could do something like that. So kind of track her as she jumps up, and then we'll end up here, kind of above the T-Rex, almost like an over-the-shoulder camera. That could work. Alright, we'll give that a go. Cool, alright, so we've obviously got a massive gap here that needs filling. So let's let my help. Right, so set a key on everything between here and here. Space this out, and then we'll see what Maya gives us, which won't be an awful lot. Okay. But at least we know that all the rotates and everything are going to be accurate, so I'm just going to sample dead center, move everything back. Cool. And what we'll do is we'll make this the apex of the jump. Highest point, so I'm going to get our legs up and start getting them into position. Going to want to leave this leg behind. Remember, I kicked off this leg, so this one's going to be lagging behind. Even on the apex, it's still going to be behind. So something like that. This is going to be rotating up this way. Still going to be looking down. Arms are going to be up. Okay, so go from anticipation, apex. Okay, apex needs to be higher. So looking at it from this angle here, it's basically the highest point of the jump. Something like that for now. Cool, alright, so let's fill this in even more. So between here and here, good old bouncing ball, we know we need a stretch pose. So move this along. We're going to favour this side here a little bit, so it'd be something like that. Sample, bring everything back. Okay, and we're going to stretch that foot to the floor. Keep that coming down. This leg here's momentum's going to keep coming through. Arms are going to swing upwards to give her the momentum to jump. Just paying attention to the rotates there. I don't want to push them to the point where they're going to Euler. Keep her looking in that direction. The back is going to go into a reverse C shape a little bit, so something like that. Hips are going to go that way because they're pushing off. Sort that pole vector out. Cool. Alright, so let's ignore that camera for now, but let's check this. So we've got our anticipation, flows up into the stretch, apex, and then down. Cool. Alright, one more pose. Just need the stretch downwards from here to here. Again, Maya, help me out please. We're going to sample slightly favouring that side. Alright, we're going to get this foot planted first, so that's going to be there. This one here can lag behind a little bit. Raise her hips up slightly so it's nice and weighty as she comes down. This here is going to probably do something like that. Cool. Right, so as she's jumping up, I want to keep her left hand side of the camera. Same with this frame here. Try and keep her left so it all makes sense. Okay, and then as she lands above the T-Rex, nice and dynamic. Not my first choice. I would prefer the camera to be the other way around, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But at least it's a bit cleaner. Alright, so I'm a bit close there. You see it's kind of a bit disjointed. Raise the camera up a little bit more there. That's probably a bit tight as well, so I'm just going to bring that back. There you go. Cool. Alright, now I'm going to check poses to camera, because obviously all that was done in perspective, so let's see how this works. We've got the spear throw. Takes a step, gets her weight over to the left, springs off the left foot. Bring that camera back a bit. It's important that we see the stretch pose. Again, I'm thinking about the audience. I want them to only watch this once and understand exactly what's happened, so here we go. And probably a bit close there as well. Okay, so springs off here, we see the stretch pose up, apex, lands, grabs the spear. Cool. And I think I'm going to call it there for a day, so I've got quite a bit done. But yeah, thanks for watching and thanks for tuning in.